Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure that you hit that good old subscribe button so you do not miss out on any of my videos and any of my content. So I am super excited for this really quick video that I'm going to be doing for you all today. So being that I'm newly married, being that I'm a new mom, I always get lots of questions about, can you really have it all? Can you have the husband? Can you have the career, the business, the baby, be the boss, all this stuff? I always get like these questions. I feel like I get a lot of these questions too because I became a wife and a mom at an age that society considers a little later. You know, I wasn't like 27 when I had my first child, or, you know, when I got married. All those things for me happened after 30. I'm 31. Literally when I got married, I was like 30 and a couple months old. So that being said, I had a lot of years, and I talk about this a lot on my blog, www.raven.co. But I had a lot of years where they could be considered quote unquote selfish years. You know, in my 20s, literally if I wanted to like get up and just book a trip real quick by myself, I could do that. I didn't have to consult with anyone. I didn't have to, you know, make financial decisions with anyone. Literally in my 20s, you know, it was just me, myself, and I. So to transition to, you know, your 30s where you're married and you're having to consult with someone about your financial decisions. You're having to consult with someone about, you know, your schedule, because you got to make sure that, you know, is somebody available for certain things. And, you know, it's just, my world is definitely very different than it was 10 years ago, but I would not trade it. My husband and our son are my absolute favorite humans in the entire world, and I just love them so much. But that does not mean that it is not a little bit challenging to kind of do it all when, you know, you want to have your relationship with the Lord, when you're being a wife, when you're being a mom, when you're being an entrepreneur, and just, you know, all these different things. I actually already had a business prior to being married, and I had been in business for a really long time. But once I got married, it was almost like that just opened up like this whole box, and God just gave me so many more ideas and so much more content, you know, for different businesses and things of that nature. And so, you know, here I am when we got married, you know, 3 months later, finding out that we were expecting. And I'm just like, okay, God, you know, I'm newly married. I'm getting ready to be a mom. You're giving me all these business ideas. You know, you're not letting up on giving me the business ideas. So when am I supposed to be able to execute all these things? Like, that's basically how I felt. So can you have it all? My answer is that yes, absolutely, you can have it all. If you read Proverbs 31, it will tell you that God created us to basically do it all. But let me just get a little bit more specific, I guess, into what my tips are for like having it all, maintaining it all, you know, all that good stuff. I think first is prioritize. Like you absolutely have to prioritize. Like, there are some things that are a 100% deal breaker for me. You know, I want to be a present wife. I want to be a present mom. And so I'm just not going to be that girl that I was, you know, 2 years ago, where my businesses are taking me away from my household for weeks at a time. You know, that was cool when it was just me, myself, and I. But when you got a husband, when you have a kid, it's just like, for me, that was like a non-negotiable. So that doesn't mean that I no longer travel for my business. It doesn't mean that I don't connect with people that are in different cities, but it is definitely on different terms. If I'm traveling and I'm going to be traveling for an extended period of time, which in my beliefs is more than 2 nights away from my family, that means that my family has to come too, or it just, you know, it just cannot work. So those are my, you know, kind of stipulations, and that's what works for our household. So I think number one is you definitely want to make sure that you are prioritizing. I think that number two is you want to make sure that you're staying in prayer about everything. And let me just say, this is not in any specific order, because clearly prayer is like above everything, but you want to make sure that you're praying over everything, because it is going to be times, especially when you throw being a mom into the mix. Like, it was different when I got with my husband, because my husband, he's self-employed as well. So we kind of both had this whole, mindset of we come and go as we please, we make our own schedule. Like, that's what our lives basically, always were like. But then, bring little baby Hokin into the mix, and you gotta have a schedule to get him on a schedule, and you gotta, make sure that he's taken care of, and, all of that good stuff. And so, it definitely, for me, like, once I became a mom and, that was thrown into the mix, it was almost like some days I did not know whether I was coming or whether I was going. So prayer, like, is something that definitely, I had to stay on top of, because here I am. I had all these years where I could make my own schedule. I don't have to really answer to anyone. I still was learning to be a wife. I still was, getting adjusted to all of my wife duties. And then now, you have mommy duties that are thrown into the mix, with the wife stuff, and, all the individual stuff that I'm trying to do on my own, and all the business stuff, and, everything like that. So it was definitely, it was definitely a lot. And, prayer is what got me through. I literally wake up every single day and I say specific prayers, not just over my family, but I say specific prayers over me being a wife. I say specific prayers over me being a mother. Every day is different, in the Hoket household. And when you throw a baby into the mix, having a family, it's important, because you still want to keep, that fire in your marriage. Like, your child could say every day, listen, especially a baby, because, babies, y'all know they be doing their own little thing. But a baby can just feel like, today I'm not going to take a nap at all, or I'm not going to take a nap, at my usual time. But you don't want that to mess up, that fire between you and your husband. I know that definitely, having an infant, me and my husband are trying to get in that husband and wife time, whenever we can. He's literally upstairs watching a baby while I'm doing, this video. And I literally said to him, if we can get him to go to sleep, even if it's just, for 30 minutes, we can get some husband and wife time. Like, you have to prioritize that. I think that one of the biggest things that I learned probably within like the first 30 days of being a mom was that just because I'm a mom does not mean that I'm allowed to forget about my husband. That's something that I feel, it's like having a child is such a beautiful thing, but it's amazing how, like, the enemy will even use a child to try to come in and try to destroy marriages, because he will make, in particular, the women forget about, like, what their needs are as a husband. I mean, what their needs are, what their husband's needs are, and what their duties are as a wife. So number one, we talked about prioritizing things. I'm like so tongue-tied. And then number two, like, we talked about prayer. Number three, and I think that this is something that is very, very important, is absolutely communication. You have to communicate with your spouse. Like I said, my husband and I, both entrepreneurs, both self-employed. And so we, for years, both of us have been self-employed for years, not like 1 year, 2 years. We've been both self-employed for a really, really long time. So my husband is used to making his own schedule. I'm used to making my own schedule. And when Hunter, our son, when he came into play, we had to really communicate even better. I started to feel like I'm forgetting about myself. Weeks are going by and I'm not even, putting on no makeup or, brushing my hair. And, men are very visual. So I don't want to be walking around my house every single day, looking like Who Shot John. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't get up and do my makeup, like this every single day. But I realize, I need some time that's carved out where I could still feel like myself. You know, I could do my makeup if I want to. I can record a quick YouTube video. I can work, you know, for a few hours uninterrupted and not feel like, oh my gosh, I can't really focus and get into my work because my son might wake up crying. And, you know, sometimes we think like, oh, I'm doing everything. Like you might feel like that, or your husband might feel like he's doing everything. But really, it's all about communication, because my husband and I, we both realized that we still needed like that individual time. You know, my husband needs his me time. He needs his time where he could watch, you know, whatever he want to watch on TV. He ain't got to worry about nobody trying to talk to him. I need my time where I could watch my little Lifetime movies, my little chick flicks, you know, whatever it is that I want to watch. But you got to communicate about that. You know, we're a family. We are a unit. I cannot just wake up and say, yeah, at 2 o'clock, I'm going to go and I'm going to get my nails done. Yeah, at 5 o'clock, I'm finna go downstairs and I'm going to bake this cake that's going to take me like 5 hours. I cannot just do that. I got to communicate with my husband. I can't just leave my husband with our son. And I mean, especially in this case, because our son is 100% exclusively breastfed. So I can't just leave my husband, you know, with my son alone. And I'm not even telling him when I'm going to be back. I'm not even telling him, you know, what I'm doing. I just can't do that. So communication is like such a big thing. So overall, yes, you know, the answer to that age old question that I get all the time, you absolutely can have it all, but you need to prioritize. You need to pray to keep yourself sane through everything, through balance and managing it all. And you absolutely need to communicate with your partner. You do not want to forget about your spouse in this process. You don't want your spouse to feel that their needs are, you know, not being met. And you know, like I said, priorities, that's like a biggest thing. Like I would love to go in some more on this topic. You know, I would love for this, you know, to kind of go even deeper into it, but that's going to have to be for another day and another video, because I know that my son is getting ready to be asleep really soon. And so I gotta probably spend the next like 10 minutes eating, and then the next however long, you know, our son is asleep, catering to my husband, because I cannot forget about my baby. You know, that's my baby before we had a baby. So you got to think about it like that when you think about having it all. So that's my little spiel for this video. Can you have it all? Do not forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my videos, and go to www.raven.co. It's just .co, no M on the end. So you can go there to find my podcast. I have a lot of podcast topics or podcast episodes that kind of go around this topic. You can also check out my blog. I have some goodies on there as well. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in another video.